Initially we'll have a welcome speech by Dev Sahab, and then we'll start off with the guest lecture by Professor Shakalkar, and then we'll have a speech by Mr. Venkatesham, and then finally we'll have the chief guest for today, Dr. Anil Kapadkar, giving a speech, and then the book release, followed by discussion with the audience, and basically, whatever words we have, whatever insights we have to be shared, because this is another, like you see, is a debate that we want to start off. Is basically creation of wealth versus transfer of wealth. It's a debate that's going on in our individuals' heads, and we would like to have that debate come out in society for enrichment for all and all. So let me just take the opportunity to welcome the guests for today.
Shakalkar and Shyam Venkatesham and our guest. We welcome you for today's function. I met Tulsi Tiwari in 1995 when he was president of Pharma Division of Vijay Mallya's pharma company. I read his articles from last 10 years on the subject of creation of wealth, and from last 5 years his articles on transfer of wealth.
Essentially because it's an excellent example of an interdisciplinary approach to a problem which we have been always thinking, writing, discussing, criticizing on fragmentary basis, orbiting around the nucleus of that particular atom. And when the arguments became too much for Einstein, he shrugged his head, raised his shoulders and said, "My intellect accepts what you say, but my heart cannot accept the fact." He accepted it as a fact first. My heart cannot accept that fact that God plays dice. Because this basic principle uncertainty is essentially the probabilistic behavior of the subatomic particles. And for a hardcore physicist,
how is Tulsi? What is Tulsi? What has he done in the book? What is his background? A lot of it you know about it. The professor said that. And the only thing I can tell is that I did come to know him a few years ago. And all that I can tell is I don't want to lose his friendship under any circumstances. I'd like to be always there for you to see all the lights. It is that bad. Therefore, we started it about 300 acres of, with great difficulty, about 300 acres of first 360 degrees green power initiative. Top left, I don't know whether you can see, top left is forestation program. If you have a forestation program, then you can you can enable electrical power stations, then you can set up the industries, then there will be an increase in demand. This is how it keeps growing. Okay, next. Go ahead. Go away. Last, just hold on. This the whole concept is called man-made high-density regenerative forest with fast-growing trees. Man-made it is not a natural forest. Almost all the knowledge in the world for forest is the rain-fed forest. If I go to a forester, he gives me all the talk about how in 50 years or 30 years he can grow a very well-done forest. What do I do about it? No banker is prepared to wait for more than 3 years. Okay, and they're all high density. I don't need.
Sir.
So request you please, release the book. I don't know the right word for it, so please for that. So in reality, it's not just a book. It's Tulsi Tawari, Professor Sakhalkar, Mr. Venkateshan, distinguished members in the audience and friends. Well, first of all, I must congratulate Shri Tawari for a very, I would say, for a work which will make not only us, not only people who will read this book, but perhaps a far larger community think about this very fine balance that we need to ensure. I would call it balance of value systems. This value is a term which has been used in that book many times. We are all also familiar with value in terms of the connotation that value systems have. And I think there is a relationship between the two, and that's what I imagine that this book would set the thinking process on that aspect in motion. I must admit it was very tough for me to read this book, I must tell you. Tough because every page you read, it makes you think. And for a person like me who is not so deep in economics, I have to think even harder because I don't grasp several things. But at the same time, you want to read the next page and the next page, and every page of it will make you think. And so I must admit that important kind of parameters in terms of something that we should have. Or he describes 3 additional parameters in addition to good health. And so it's health, it's love, it's identity, and of course it's money. Now, seen in the value sense, to me value is something which doesn't decrease if you give. Love doesn't diminish if you give. Knowledge, which is not a that parameter, but knowledge doesn't diminish if you give. Money diminishes if you give, if you see it in a very limited sense. But if you treat yourself as a member of a larger family, and or seen the other way, if everyone treats himself or herself as a trustee of your own wealth, as Mahatma Gandhi has been saying, then even money doesn't decrease by giving, because it all remains within the system which you treat as your family. And so in that sense, if you talk about, and he has very nicely analyzed this
aspect of creation of wealth versus transfer of wealth. And while recognizing that creation of wealth is the thing, we should all be endeavoring to realize that while we can't do away with money, and so we can't do away with some aspects of transfer of wealth, and the book does distinguish nicely between the good aspects of transfer of wealth and the bad aspects of transfer of wealth. It seems to me and that in a society, and of course you described a pyramid, I forget the term, but it's several attributes which are actually not so good kind of attributes, and but talk about the pyramid in terms of the economic strata, the highest wealth earning people to the people at the bottom. And as I think Muhammad Yunus had somewhere said that we should ensure I think he didn't use transfer of wealth, but if you create your transactions, if you create business activity, if you create economic activity in a manner where you actually migrate money to the bottom of pyramid, or you create wealth at the bottom of pyramid, it will still migrate, it will still transfer. But then creating money at the top of the pyramid and then that transfer taking place, which doesn't happen, and you have this so-called lot of disparities getting created in the society. On the other hand, if you create enterprise which creates wealth at the bottom of the pyramid, again it will transfer. But this actually would transfer relatively faster. This will of course create the benefit where it is most required, and in fact it will reduce the disparities in the society. Now clearly not all things can be done by organizing it such a way that there is this create wealth at the bottom of pyramid, because there are decidedly several operations where you need to run large enterprise, and so I think you probably need a good combination of both the top down and bottom up, as it were. I have been concerned with this problem for a fairly long time, and for example, we have several examples in the country, several kinds of enterprises in private sector, public sector got been created. We have also models. For example, there is this wonderful Amul model, milk cooperatives. There is this model of sugar cooperatives right here in Maharashtra, also in Uttar Pradesh. Now, and they have actually had a transformative influence on the society, but it has also created its own problems. You can't really say that the cooperative model has no exploitative elements within it. And so in fact I was quite attracted by this treatment of the issue of identity in your book. And actually I was amazed that you have this an individual identity which is so important. In fact, you begin by saying power of one, then the power of two, and then of larger power. We also have this model of self-help groups, microfinance going on in the country. And I think it has, in some sense, has created that individual identity to a large number of people who were absolutely at the bottom of the pyramid. But interacting with them, I find that although they have certainly things are better for them than they were before this identity was acquired by them, but that identity is not strong enough. They still have problems dealing with quote-unquote banking correspondents. They still have problems in growing from where they are to larger enterprise. And in fact, one of the solutions that appears necessary is to create a combination of the individual identity and the group identity. For example, cooperatives does create a group identity and becomes, we've seen it becomes a formidable force. And in fact, I was very happy to read this in your book that you need to manage both an individual identity and a group identity, and organize the build-up of enterprise, as it were, on this basis, in a manner that you generate wealth at that level. Now, I think there are, this book is a very curious combination. On one side, it looks at things from the angles of, from an economic angle. But I would imagine that many philosophers, the way they would argue, that you see something parallel in this book in terms of how the society should conduct itself, what should be the value system in the society, how is it that if somebody gives, it's not a loss to anybody, including the giver. How is it that the value addition in whatever we do could be a solution, could be an answer, which done rightly can perhaps not go wrong, even if it may appear wrong in an economic sense. It will still have the importance of ultimately leading to something good, or the net of all the activity would be a plus. So I think there are many aspects in this book which need to be understood first, which need to be debated, discussed, and of course put into practice. And it's not going to be easy putting these ideas in practice. Always would require a fair bit of innovative thinking, innovative work. But I think if one moves in that direction, to me it would appear that the success is always guaranteed. I won't say more on this book because I'm not even sure whether, as I told you, I have not read that book fully, so I'm not even sure whether I have understood the whole thing completely, because unless you read this whole thing, But I would certainly recommend to all of you and to your friends that this is one book which certainly is worth reading, worth understanding,